This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Dana Kozlov.
Thanks for being with us on your Friday. I'm Marissa Perlman in for Audrina Sinclair on this Friday. We begin with the historic election of the first American Pope, Robert Prevost, who's also a Chicago native.
And this morning, the Vatican saying he will officially take the title on May 18th. This after celebrating his first Mass in the Sistine Chapel.
You have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission.
And here at home, Holy Name Cathedral celebrating with a special Mass for Pope Leo XIV. There is still so much excitement this morning as the world welcomes a new leader of the Catholic Church.
Yeah, we're covering it from all angles for you this morning. Darius Johnson is live at Holy Name for a local reaction. But let's begin with our CBS correspondent Tina Kraus, who's live at the Vatican. Good afternoon, Tina.
Marissa and Dana, good afternoon to you. What a wonderful day, a first day with Pope Leo. It's his first full day of the papacy. The faithful here in St. Peter's Square saying their hearts are really full for the first time in nearly 3 weeks after we lost Pope Francis. People saying they're welcoming Pope Leo, the first American ever, with a sense of curiosity, but also hope for the future of the Catholic Church. Joy and anticipation in St. Peter's Square this morning as Pope Leo XIV led his first Mass with cardinals at the Sistine Chapel.
Fratres agnoscamus peccata nostra.
The white smoke billowing from the chapel chimney on day 2 of the conclave Thursday revealed the historic election. Soon after, Cardinal Robert Prevost appeared on the balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square as the first American-born pope.
Oh my God, it's Rob.
The election of the 69-year-old Chicago native surprised even his own siblings.
You know how some kids like to play war and be soldiers? He wanted to play priest.
And we just teased, you're going to be the Pope.
Pope Leo XIV is the first pontiff from the Augustinian order, and the heart of that group came through in his first blessing as he urged people to build bridges, embrace dialogue, and show compassion through charity. The new Bishop of Rome spent much of his life in Peru, even gaining citizenship. Friar Ramiro Castillo describes him as a simple, quiet person. In the U.S., the reaction to the first American pontiff has been anything but quiet. From the White House.
That's a great honor.
To Prevost's alma mater, Villanova University.
I heard the bells, and it was just a really surreal experience.
In Chicago, a friendly battle between the two hometown baseball clubs, both claiming the new pope as a fan. Marissa and Dana, I know you're not going to agree with this maybe, but Pope Leo's brother says the new pontiff is a White Sox fan. We'll have to wait and see if that's true. Maybe he himself will tell us one day.
We will certainly have to wait and see. But yeah, I think all signs are pointing to that South Sider being a White Sox fan. And Tina, before we let you go, we want to ask, what was the significance of Pope Leo holding that first Mass for the Cardinals inside the Sistine Chapel?
Well, what was incredible is, that was the same sacred site, right, of the conclave, and that's where they had been just a day before, these cardinals searching their hearts for the right pick to be pope, and then they chose him and handed him the helm. And so he went from Cardinal Robert Prevost, those were the last few minutes he spent as cardinal before he put on his robes and named himself Pope Leo XIV. So profoundly significant in that respect.
All right, Tina Kraus, thank you so much for your reports this morning and really all week long. We appreciate it. And a live look now at a gathering of cardinals from the United States. They expect to address the media any moment now. Multiple cardinals will be speaking, including Cardinal Blaise Cupich of Chicago. We will bring that to you live when it begins. And Holy Name Cathedral held a Thanksgiving Mass to celebrate the Chicago-born Pope Leo XIV.
He grew up in South suburban Dalton, and those who know him are reflecting on the humble beginnings of a global faith leader. Our Darius Johnson is live this hour at Holy Name Cathedral with a look at some of the Chicago roots of this new pope. Good morning to you, Darius.
Hey there, ladies. Good morning to you both. I just have to take a moment to say there are so many emotions right now. In the last 5 minutes, the bells were tolling here above Holy Name Cathedral. This as parishioners started to make their way out of that morning mass of Thanksgiving. Now, that morning mass of Thanksgiving was their normal mass. However, it was the first mass where they had a chance to pray for their very own, Pope Leo XIV, where they prayed for him for the very first time. Take a listen.
As we gather here today, we do so in celebration of the election of our new Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV.
Parishioners gathered to honor and pray for the new leader of the Catholic Church, Robert Francis Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, born and raised here in Dalton, Illinois. Locals remember him as Robbie, who used to play Red Rover and play priest as a child. It was then when his neighbors believed he'd make history as the first American pope. He studied at Villanova before earning a Master of Divinity in Hyde Park, and then spent 20 years as a missionary in Peru. Known for his humility and commitment to social justice, Prevost quickly climbed the church's ranks, becoming cardinal in 2023, and this week, the first American-born pope. A priest here at Holy Name Cathedral remembers meeting him back in 2016, calling him humble, personable, and worthy of prayer.
I see a lot of Pope Francis in him, about encountering people, about meeting them where they're at, and just bringing the joy of the gospel to them. We just have to pray for him. It's not a job anybody should want, and I don't think he was seeking this, but just to pray for him and pray for the church and pray for the world. Pope means bridge builder in Latin, so to pray that he builds bridges and tears down walls among people.
Now, in the last couple of minutes, I've had a chance to speak with some of those parishioners who have started to make their way out of Holy Name Cathedral. Some of them telling me it wasn't as packed as they thought it would be, that it was more packed after the death of Pope Francis. Now, one other thing to say, when you are looking here outside Holy Name Cathedral, they have that gold and that white bunting, really showing that symbolism of celebration for Pope Leo XIV. And even outside here on the marquee, you can see him right here bearing this sign. Again, we will be here all throughout the day, all throughout the morning, continuously bringing you these stories. For now, we're live at Holy Name Cathedral this morning. I'm Darius Johnson, CBS News Chicago.
Darius, thank you, and so much excitement coming from Holy Name. We're getting all sorts of reaction and excitement about the Pope being from Chicago, of course. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson posting this on X, quote, "Everything dope, including the Pope, comes from Chicago. Congratulations to the first American Pope, Leo XIV. We hope to welcome you back soon."
And Governor J.B. Pritzker sharing that he welcomes in the new Pope at a time when we need compassion, unity, and peace.
Now to your first alert weather forecast as we take a live look over a beautiful shot of the skyline. The sun is out. Wow, the lake even looks beautiful there in the distance. Let's send it right over to meteorologist Laura Bannon, who's got your good news.
All good news here. We made it through the coldest point of the forecast. That was earlier this morning when we had that frost advisory. No more frost again, at least for the next several days. The big focus will be the shift in temperatures, especially through tomorrow and Sunday for Mother's Day, highs in the 70s, and then we are talking some 80s for next week. Cool, comfortable right now. Nice little morning for us. 51 degrees, a light breeze. Your day ahead, we go through the 60s. So today will be one of the cooler days, but a brighter afternoon with that light lake breeze. Now tomorrow, an interesting setup as we have a backdoor cold front swinging through during the afternoon. We saw this setup a couple of days ago. So the afternoon hours on Saturday will be much cooler compared to the morning. But Mother's Day is still promising to be a nice day with sunny skies. More on that Mother's Day and those warming temperatures for next week coming up.
Laura, thanks so much. Well, now to your nonstop news at this hour. We start in Hammond, Indiana, where Chicago's Civilian Office of Police Accountability is now investigating a deadly shooting after a chase ended there.
This all started right before 6 o'clock last night. Police say officers were called to Baltimore Avenue in Hegewisch for a person wanted for aggravated battery. That person then got in a car, and that's when a chase started. It ended with a crash just over the border in Hammond near the intersection of Dearborn and Gosselin. Police say the suspect then shot at the officers before they fired back. The suspect was taken to St. Catherine Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The officers are now on administrative duties for at least a month, which is standard procedure after police are involved in a shooting.
A trial is expected to begin for the man charged with stabbing an 11-year-old to death and seriously hurting the child's pregnant mother. The attack happened in March of last year. Chrisetti Brand here is accused of forcing his way into their Edgewater home and attacking the mother and son. He's facing multiple charges, including first-degree murder, armed robbery, and domestic battery. A jury trial will start at 9 this morning at the Layton Criminal Courthouse.
Democrat Senate hopeful Raja Krishnamurthy is holding his first campaign event today. The congressman hopes to succeed Senator Dick Durbin, who is retiring at the end of his term. Just minutes ago, Krishnamurthy kicked off his first Senate event in Peoria, his hometown, where he's speaking from his childhood home. He'll then head to Chicago before ending the day in Schaumburg, one of the cities he is currently representing.
Well, turning to some other news, new concerns now about the measles in schools, but it's not because of an outbreak.
It's because less than half of Chicago public schools have herd immunity from the measles now.
A Sun-Times analysis of data from the Illinois State Board of Education found only 93% of CPS students were vaccinated against the measles. The CDC recommends a 95% vaccination rate for herd immunity, but less than half of CPS elementary, high school, and charter schools meet that number. In 2019, 90% of schools had herd immunity. So the district says it has a plan to improve vaccine rates, including frequent communication with parents and principals, bringing services to schools with the lowest rates, and helping with documenting immunization records. Many kids are behind on their vaccines because of the COVID pandemic. And as we keep an eye on your world this morning, the military standoff between India and Pakistan continues to grow in the Kashmir region.
At least 5 civilians were killed overnight after soldiers from both sides exchanged heavy fire and artillery shells. India's army says it fought back multiple drone attacks. Now, India accuses Pakistan of violating ceasefire rules along the line of control. That is the border between India and Pakistan-controlled Kashmir. Tensions in the region have been growing since a deadly attack on Indian civilians last month that left 26 people dead. Amid the tensions, India has suspended its biggest domestic cricket tournament for a week. The Board of Control for Cricket in India says they will pause all events for the Indian Premier League. The IPL runs from March to May and still has 12 games to be played before playoffs. And one team had already had its games moved due to multiple airports being closed in the northwest part of India.
And President Trump is backing Ukraine's 30-day unconditional ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. The president took to social media yesterday to announce the ceasefire and threaten additional sanctions from the U.S. if it's not respected. His comments come after he spoke with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, where they discussed this proposal. Zelensky said the Ukrainians are waiting for Russia to support the proposal.
A federal court says Alabama lawmakers engaged in gerrymandering. The decision filed yesterday goes back to a congressional district map that was drawn up in 2020. A 3-judge panel ruled it purposely split up black voters into separate districts. Had the map been drawn fairly, it would have created a second district with a black majority. In fact, that's what happened when a court-appointed expert drew a new temporary map for 2024. Well, back now to that live look at a gathering right now of Cardinals from across the United States. They are addressing the media.
We're waiting for Cardinal Blaise Cupich from Chicago to speak. We'll be sure to bring that to you live as soon as it happens. We'll be right back.
And within 24 hours, we were able to come to unity in making a decision. I hope that's a signal to the world that we can reach across our differences in culture, language, country, nationality, and work together to solve the problems that are there, that we have the opportunity to reconcile and have peace. And I think it's instructive that Pope Leo began his message to people in the square by offering them the peace of Christ. So I saw this as really a spiritual experience of not only going through the motions of praying for the Holy Spirit, singing the Veni Creator, but actually having an experience of how we were able to treat each other with great respect, to listen to each other during the congregations beforehand. And then when it came time for voting, things seemed to just gel and go in a direction that set us on a path of unity. And that's what I really come away with from this experience. If only the rest of us in our lives and in the world could have that mad dash to unity that we seem to have in the conclave.
This was one of the most prayerful moments in my life, my first conclave, and I could not be more grateful that it happened in the holy year of hope, that we are pilgrims of hope, something that Pope Francis had initiated. I felt comfortable saying to Pope Leo, from one South Sider of Chicago to another, I promise you my respect, my fidelity, and my love. It was just an amazing opportunity to see such a diverse assembly of humanity, obviously coming from many different perspectives, facing many different challenges, but coming together for a common purpose, to find Peter's successor. And I think we did well.
As one who is very American in habits, tastes, and attitudes, I always thought it would be impossible to have an American pope in my lifetime. But I have to say, as we entered into the Sistine Chapel, it's a magnificent...
Well, you have just been hearing from several cardinals, including Cardinal Blaise Cupich, the Archbishop of Chicago, and Cardinal Wilton Gregory, who is also from Chicago. They were among several talking in Rome, currently talking in Rome, about the newly elected Pope. Cardinal Cupich talked about the conclave process, the voting, and what Cupich called a mad dash to unity after discussions amongst the cardinals, and then the subsequent voting seemed to be leading them down a very clear path to the decision to elect now Pope Leo XIV.
Talking about some of the messages that we heard that Pope Leo spoke about in his first Mass to the cardinals, that same message of unity, of bringing people together, following in Pope Francis's footsteps along those lines, at least. Very interesting to hear from these American cardinals.
To get some insight into what their conclave process was like.
Absolutely, firsthand. Very cool. Okay, thanks for watching CBS News Chicago. We'll get back to your regularly scheduled programming, and be sure to tune in for your next newscast at 11 a.m. We're also live on the stream right now.
This has been breaking news from CBS News Chicago.
The Trump administration has fired the head of the Library of Congress, and now the firing is leading to pushback from Democrats. Carla Hayden, whose official title is the Librarian of Congress, still had about a year and a half left on her 10-year term. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called the firing a, quote, disgrace. He accused President Donald Trump of trying to ban books and whitewash American history. Hayden was the first woman and black person to hold that office. Hayden found she was being fired via an email late Thursday, and no explanation was given. We are also looking deeper into the new trade agreement between the United States and the United Kingdom.
It's the first since President Trump imposed sweeping tariffs on almost every nation in the world. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest on that and more.
The first trade deal of President Donald Trump's second term.
It opens up a tremendous market for us.
The agreement with the United Kingdom would expand the market for U.S. beef and ethanol, while the U.S. would drop its new 25% tariff on fancy British cars like Land Rover to 10% for every 100,000 cars sold a year. The U.S.'s blanket 10% tariff on most British goods still in place.
We can finish ironing out some of the details, but there's a fantastic platform here.
With that initial deal done, the White House turns to China. Tomorrow, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is set to hold early negotiations in Switzerland. Amid talk on trade, the president with 2 polarizing staffing swaps, firing longtime Librarian of Congress Carla Hayden, per congressional sources, and choosing Fox News host Judge Jeanine Pirro as interim U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. The nomination of his first pick, Ed Martin, pulled after losing support in the Senate. Pirro's false statements about voter fraud in the 2020 election were part of a lawsuit brought by Dominion Voting Systems against the network. Also, a shakeup in the skies. Thursday, the Transportation Secretary announced a complete rebuild of the nation's air traffic control system after a series of sometimes deadly mishaps.
This is a way to pay it forward and to do the right thing to keep our families and our community safe.
A project the Secretary says could take 4 years to finish. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The National Center for Youth Law has filed a class action lawsuit challenging new policies from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The lawsuit accuses the government of creating policies that have led to families being separated and prolonging the detention of kids in federal custody. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of those impacted by the policies, including a 17-year-old girl who's detained with her infant daughter. Let's toss it over now to Laura Bannon for a look at the weekend's forecast.
Yeah, things are looking really nice for the weekend. Today, a beautiful sunny day, cooler lakeside. Tomorrow, we do have an interesting setup. If you have outdoor plans, definitely keep them. But do keep in mind that things will be cooler by the afternoon. Shower chances on hold. A couple of showers will be possible by Tuesday. So while we wait on that, we're talking about warming temperatures and even a summer-like feel. 51 degrees right now, a light northeast wind at 6, warming nicely. We're all in the 50s with the exception up toward Waukegan where it's 47, not too far behind. Moving ahead through the day today, we'll make it into the 60s, some areas in the 70s. You're going to find those well inland along the lakefront today in the 50s. Looking at your forecast for tomorrow in the morning hours, not as chilly. I'm not concerned about frost for the early morning hours on Saturday, but by the midday hours is likely when we'll see our highs hit across Chicago. May see an additional warming or two, a couple of degrees higher, especially farther south, while you wait on that cold front to race down. So as that front sweeps through, cooling conditions for the rest of the day and also some blustery conditions. This is a similar setup from what we had just a couple of days when it was so nice in the morning and then felt completely different in the afternoon. 7-day forecast. We've got those falling temperatures on Saturday, really uneventful, quiet weather for Mother's Day. 76 on Sunday, 80s on Monday, few showers on Tuesday, dry Wednesday, small shower chance again on Thursday, but things warming up and feeling pretty toasty out there. 86 for next Thursday. All right, the time is 9:25. We're back right after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. It is all about Mom on Sunday, and the Better Business Bureau wants to make sure you don't get scammed when you're buying your mom a gift.
Yeah, it is warning about fake online shops, fake gift cards, and scams to get your information. So, what can you do? Well, use a secure payment method and avoid prepaid debit cards. Check reviews and ratings of the seller or store, including on bbb.org. Do not enter your personal information on a pop-up screen. It could be an identity thief. And make sure to check return policies as well.
A lot to get to this morning. Coming up next at 9:30, our coverage of the election of the new Pope continues.
Pope Leo used to substitute teach at St. Rita High School, and we get reaction from students excited to find out to learn he is now the new pontiff.
Ladies, good morning to you for the first time this morning. I'm standing outside of St. Gabriel Elementary School in Canaryville, and I just spoke to a young woman who was actually confirmed by then Bishop Prevost, but now the Pope. So I'm going to tell you that whole story right after the break.
This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Kozlov.
And I'm Marissa Perlman. It is 9:30. Thanks for staying with us at this hour. We continue our coverage this morning of celebrations of the new Pope. It is historic in so many ways, as Pope Leo XIV is the first American to lead the Catholic Church. We are taking a look at him leading his first Mass in his new role.
More Pope coverage in a minute, but let's start with your First Alert forecast as we are in for a warm-up just in time for the weekend. Meteorologist Laura Bannon in the First Alert Weather Center. Now, I know there's a bit of a blip tomorrow, but after that, it's smooth sailing.
Yeah, you know, and Saturday's forecast really isn't a bad day. I just want everyone everyone to be alert that it's going to be feeling totally different for the afternoon. Morning hours, spectacular, cooler for the second half of the day. Today, rather uneventful day. It was really chilly this morning. We had that frost advisory, not an issue. Now, as we have made way through the 50s, Joliet at 54. Afternoon temperatures 60s and 70s, low 70s, Aurora, Morris, and Ottawa 73. Coolest along the lakefront. In the Loop today, 57 degrees. Winds overall will be on the lighter edge of the scale before rising through the day on Saturday, showing 73 degrees. And when you look at your phone, too, the forecast will show 70s, but it'll be cooling through the afternoon with this backdoor cold front. We'll time it out hour by hour coming up in my next report. Back to you.
All right, Laura, see you in a bit. Well, Pope Leo XIV will be formally installed as Pope on May 18th.
The announcement by the Vatican comes as he presided over a mass just this morning after being named pontiff officially.
You have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission. And I know I can rely on each and every one of you to walk with me.
In his first Mass, the first Pope from the U.S. started in the Mass in English, as you heard, before changing to Italian. Pope Leo called for celebrations and, quote, recognizing the marvels that the Lord has done. While the Pope will be installed on the 18th, again, he will preside over his first general audience on the 21st.
Now, this comes as the Vatican's released new video showing the Rogito. That is the official document that confirms the election of Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost as Pope. In Latin, it notes who will sign it and that Prevost has accepted the election and what his name will be.
A live look right now inside Holy Name Cathedral. So beautiful. Earlier this morning, the parish held a special Thanksgiving Mass here in honor of the new Pope, where they prayed for him.
And as you have entrusted your servant Leo XIV with the office of shepherd, grant him always salvation and protection, together with the flock entrusted to his care.
After Mass, worshipers told us it was a moving and beautiful way to honor and welcome the new Pope to his new role. The priest asked the congregation to keep praying for Pope Leo and the church. Well, the new Pope's roots in the city run deep. He was born in 1955 at Bronzeville's Mercy Hospital and attended the former St. Mary of the Assumption Church on 138th growing up. After graduating from Villanova University in Pennsylvania, he returned to Chicago in the late 1970s, earning a Master's of Divinity at the Catholic Theological Union in Hyde Park.
Well, Pope Leo is still affiliated with St. Rita's School and is an honorary alumni there. And the students at St. Rita were closely watching the Pope speak at the Vatican just yesterday. In a Facebook post, the school showed the students watching CNN with a caption that says, Habeas Papam, or we have a Pope. When they got word it was not only an American Pope, but Cardinal Robert Prevost himself, they didn't believe it. They say it was a surreal day, especially for one student who met Prevost last August in New Lenox.
He was a very charismatic guy, just down to earth, talking with everyone. And after the Mass, he came out, talked with all of us, and then there was a dinner after, and everyone got to talk with him. It was just one-on-one experience with him. It was just a great time.
Father Tom McCarthy here says he's known Pope Leo for 40 years. He met him when he entered the order 40 years ago. McCarthy says he's a wonderful person who named him president of St. Rita High School back in the day. He says he reached out to Pope Leo just this week.
I emailed him on Tuesday, and I said, Dear Bob, I said, I'm praying for you and all the cardinals. Come, Holy Spirit. And he responded back, thanks, Tom. Keep the prayers coming.
Father Tom adds it was obvious that the late Pope Francis really liked the new Pope Leo. Well, Jackie Kostick is out in Canaryville for us this morning, where the Pope's brother used to be principal. And Jackie, seems like you've spoken to someone who had the chance to meet the new pontiff years ago.
Marissa and Dana, good morning to you. Well, there is one woman who I just spoke to, a young woman. She's 24 years old. Her name's Gianna Semental, and she currently runs the after-school program here at St. Gabriel Elementary School. But 10 years ago, in 2015, she was an 8th grade student here. And at that time, the current Pope's brother was acting as principal. And she said that the bishop who was supposed to do their confirmation, for whatever reason, couldn't do it. So it was a very last-minute cancellation. And so essentially the principal at the time, the brother of the current Pope, asked his brother for a favor. He just happened to be in town and he came in and served as confirmation. So here is what she said when I asked her what she felt when she learned that Pope Leo was the man who confirmed her and was elevated to Pope just yesterday.
Like, my friends even texted me like, it's him, because I was joking when the list of, came out of who might be Pope, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny I could say this and all that stuff, like just joking, like just being like, and it was my friend that texted me. She was like, it's him, like just it's him, and I was like, what? And I was like, oh, I know what she means. And I looked at the news and I was like, no way.
She said almost immediately she got in touch with her parents, and her parents were trying to dig through all of the old scrapbooks, yearbooks to try to find the photos of her standing next to now Pope Leo the 14th. And she said that she just wishes she remembered more about the moment, but she did remember how kind he was. So here is what she said about that.
I wish I remembered the speech he gave, because, I feel like, 8th grade, you're like 14 or something, like you're just so nervous at that time. Like, I didn't really take it in, and I wish I took it in. So now, like, when I heard his speech yesterday, I was able to understand it more, or listen more to it. Because I really don't know him personally. He just did this one kind act for his brother that happened to be my principal.
But of course, she said that it is a surreal moment. We also spoke to a few of the students in there today, and everybody is just so excited to have that connection, that then Bishop Robert Prevost was the person who came in, helped his brother out, did a kind act, and confirmed the students of 2015. Ladies, that's all I got for you right now. Back to you.
Very exciting, and what a exciting, just how exciting, I should say, to see that young student.
Well, I know, and she's clearly still trying to absorb, the fact that she actually has had a discussion with the new Pope. All right, Jackie, thanks so much.
All right, now to a look inside Pope Leo's childhood home in Dalton. We spoke to the current owner who bought, renovated, and planned to flip it.
It's a Catholic couple who's expecting a new baby, so as they get some big cash offers, they may wait a bit to sell it. That's where the Pope grew up with his brother John, who had a very interesting conversation with our Dorothy Tucker.
The Pope's older brother lives right here in suburban New Lenox. He is a retired Catholic school principal who now has the distinction of being big brother to the first American Pope.
This one is me, and this one is the now Pope.
When he was just a toddler, growing up with his two brothers in Dalton. Robert Prevost, now Pope Leo, is the youngest son. Brother John says they had a normal childhood, a traditional Catholic upbringing. They were all altar boys, but young Robert knew from a young age he wanted to be a priest.
You know how some kids like to play war and be soldiers, and some girls want to play dolls and be housewives. He wanted to play priest. And so he took our mom's ironing board and put a tablecloth over it, and we had to go to Mass. And we went to Mass, and he knew everything. He knew his prayers in Latin, he knew his prayers in English, and he did that all the time. And he took it totally serious. It was not a joke. It was not a game. He was dead serious about it. Isn't that interesting? Now, that's how you know. And the other thing, how we knew, when he was in first grade or kindergarten, one of the moms across the street and one down the street said to him, "You're going to be the first American Pope," in first grade.
You hear the name and you do feel what?
Shock, disbelief, a whole lot of pride, a whole lot of, is this for real? Now what are we going to do? That kind of stuff. Because this is an awesome responsibility that we have to live up to, that he has to live up to. People are going to be watching him from now on, closer than ever, and maybe us too, the family.
John says he hasn't had a chance to speak to his brother, the Pope, just yet, but he hopes to see him in the next couple of days when he goes to Rome for the big celebration. Reporting from New Lenox, Dorothy Tucker, CBS News, Chicago.
Such a cool conversation, Dorothy. Thank you. And you can see Dorothy's entire conversation with the Pope's brother. It's on our website, CBS News Chicago, and our YouTube page. The former ambassador to the Holy See met with Pope Leo XIV last fall while working on a project for Pope Francis.
Miguel Diaz is at Loyola University Chicago, and this morning he told us the group had dinner with then Cardinal Prevost, but never thought they would be talking about him as leader of the Catholic Church.
And it was truly a delightful conversation. Never, of course, did any one of us imagined that that would be that he would be the next pope. You know, he is an American, but he also has tremendous gifts when it comes to, you know, his ministerial and immersion in terms of Latin America, and also because he speaks to some of the salient challenges of our times: peace, reconciliation, the need to overturn polarization. The dignity of all human persons is very, very much in line with Pope Francis when it comes to, you know, the care of, you know, the migrants.
We are also seeing reaction come in online, including from former President Barack Obama, who posted in part, "We will pray for him as he begins the sacred work of leading the Catholic Church and setting an example for so many, regardless of faith."
A lot of people needed to Google the latest sign at the Wiener Circle, but it's celebrating the new Pope and his Chicago heritage, of course, and probably his love for Chicago hot dogs. It is in Latin, but the translation here is, "He has eaten our dogs."
Oh, I wonder if it's true. We have to fact check this.
Nostros ipse comedit.
Who knew that said, you know, dogs in there somewhere?
There you go.
I'm going to have to check on that, though. Well, a new milk bank for mothers is holding a ribbon cutting today in Elk Grove Village. The Mother's Milk Bank of Western Great Lakes is dedicated to making sure that infants in need have access to breast milk. The new 15,000 square foot center is on Bonnie Lane between Oakton and Landmeyer. It includes a walk-in freezer, 2 production labs, and a research lab. The ribbon cutting is set for 12:45 this afternoon. And tomorrow there's a massive one-day blood drive happening in Naperville to honor a mom who died after a long cancer battle. A pint for Kim is in memory of Kim Sanford, who passed away in March 2020. While receiving treatment, she experienced chemotherapy-induced anemia, which led to multiple blood transfusions. Thanks to those blood donations, though, she was strong enough to spend some extra time with her loved ones, including a break from the hospital to vacation in the Bahamas. Before she passed, she asked for a blood drive instead of a wake to help others in the same way, and more than 500 people showed up for that first one in 2020, and it has continued since. Tomorrow's blood drive takes place at Naperville North High School from 7:30 to 3:30. You can walk in or schedule an appointment online at apintforkim.com. We will be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Aurora's 31st annual sports festival is happening right now at Phillips Park. More than 1,200 student athletes will be participating in this. It's part of National Physical Fitness and Sports Month. The students will be competing in sports ranging from basketball and soccer to chess and cornhole. It started with an opening ceremony at 9, and competitions will run until 1. At that time, closing ceremonies will be held along with a trophy presentation.
Well, speaking of students, those getting ready to graduate from Maine South High School gathered this morning to watch the sunrise.
Yeah, this is at Centennial Park in Park Ridge. Such a cool experience for them. It's a chance for them to celebrate their upcoming graduation as well.
People are playing music, people brought donuts and stuff, so we're just like all hanging out together, taking pictures, you know. So we're all just enjoying our last time together.
This is the seniors' final Friday of high school with only a few days left of attendance before they celebrate prom. Graduation is a week from Sunday.
Oh, so big milestone, big milestone.
You go
Congrats
out there,
to them.
you take pictures, kind of your final time with all of your classmates. You talk about what's next. Very cool.
Oh, it's really quite the event, isn't it? That whole change of life from moving to high school to college.
It is.
Or to
If you had an opportunity, would you do it over again? Like just to relive it?
High school?
Well, the high school transition into college.
If I could do it for like 1 month.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go back more than
Fair, yeah. Like a 1 month little pass.
Yeah, and I could pick my dates.
I'd be unstoppable. Oh my gosh.
It truly was like a beautiful morning for those.
Well, wait, but would you?
Oh yeah.
For 1 month, absolutely.
Yeah. And what about you, Marissa?
1 month, sign me.
Oh, see, all right. I think we're on to something. Okay, now let's go back to it. I'm so sorry.
Let's talk about what we really need. We get paid to talk about, not about what the woulda, coulda, shoulda is. All right. So tomorrow's gonna be a really interesting day. A couple of days ago, remember when it was so nice in the morning and then the afternoon it was anything but? I mean, it was pretty with the sunshine. We've got another day like that tomorrow. Quick warm up into the 70s, and then as this front comes on through, we're going to ease our way back down to the 60s, and then eventually by the evening hours down to the 50s. Comes along with a lot of wind in that second half of the day. So morning hours pleasant, 70s out ahead of the front. Do expect a bit of a warmer feel getting up near 80 degrees, but once that front slides through, definitely going to be feeling those cooling changes. So if you have any outdoor picnics, just going to be outdoors in general, keep those plans. I'm not expecting any rain showers or any major delays with that, but do plan on a cooler feel, blustery feel even through the later part of your day. All right, dry weather with all these changes from now until Monday. No rain to worry about. Tuesday, a small shower chance. Just looking at a couple of showers there, but otherwise a really dry, uneventful forecast. Looking at your day ahead, beautiful sunshine, 51 degrees, a light wind out of the northeast at 6. We're all in the 50s. Waukegan not too far behind at 47. In the Loop, we've got 52, 50 Valpo and LaPorte. 64 here this afternoon. Lakefront readings in the middle upper 50s. 57 this afternoon here in the Loop. 61 Waukegan, 70 DeKalb, Aurora and Morris, Joliet, 69 degrees for the high. We're at 59 this afternoon in Evanston, Schaumburg, 67. So we do see a bit of a spread from Lakeside farther inland in the mid 50s. Tonight, not as chilly. We are out of frost territory for tonight. Mid 40s, upper 40s by tomorrow morning. Saturday, falling temps, 73 degrees. Nice weather on Sunday. We'll do things right as we finish out the weekend on Mother's Day. 76, 80s on Monday. There's a shower chance on Tuesday, and then by the middle part of next week, we keep that momentum going. Highs in the 80s, going for 86 on Thursday. I feel like we finally made it. Chris, over to you. No, we did. It's Friday, too.
Sounds like we turned a corner finally, and I love it when we're fresh out of frost. I wish we were fresh out of road work and other incidents. Unfortunately, no. We've got a bumper crop going on out there, so off to the maps we go. I'm unfortunately featuring a lot of red. We've got a crash in the inbound Bishop Ford at 130th. We've got moving road work on the inbound side of I-55 or northbound in Will County. Look at this long line here. Moving midday work. 2 right lanes are blocked. They're almost up to 126 for now. You can eke by it by 59 into downtown Plainfield and then shooting out on the 126. Pretty soon you're going to have to get ahead of it by getting on northbound 55 from Weber. Crash cleanup inbound Bishop Ford 130th. The right lane is blocked there. Things are starting to ease up, so it looks like they've just moved that off onto the shoulder. Still to avoid it, maybe Torrance Avenue. Take the scenic route there up through South Deering as a workaround. Things are even getting better as I'm moving the map around. The core expressways are pretty busy. Of course, the king of the hill here is going to be the roadworks splattered Kennedy Expressway, and there's even going to be a bigger splatter, I guess you could say, this weekend. The Kennedy Express lines are going to close down at 10 o'clock tonight until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. There's not going to be any Kennedy Express, so that means it's only going to be 2 lanes wide. So you may want to try Elston Avenue instead of that. No closure on Mother's Day. Mom gets the full extent of riding through the road work with 4 lanes either way, and full closures next weekend. That's what I've got. Have a great day, everybody. Drive safe. Let's be nice to each other. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look at the stories that we're keeping an eye on today.
We start with the investigation by Chicago's Civilian Office of Police Accountability into a deadly shooting in Hammond, Indiana. This all started before 6 last night. Police say officers were called to Baltimore Avenue in Heggswich for a person wanted for aggravated battery. The suspect drove off before crashing just over the border in Hammond. Police say the suspect then shot at officers before they shot back. The suspect was taken to St. Catherine Hospital, where he was pronounced dead.
Less than half of Chicago public schools have herd immunity from the measles. A Sun-Times analysis of data from the Illinois State Board of Education found only 93% of CPS students were vaccinated against measles. The CDC recommends a 95% vaccination rate for herd immunity.
Pope Leo XIV celebrating his first Mass as leader of the Catholic Church. He called his election both a blessing and a cross to bear. The former Cardinal Robert Prevost will be formally installed as Pope at a Mass on May 18th.
All right, let's get another look at your 7-day forecast, your warmer forecast. Today, a beautiful day, 64, 73 on Saturday, cooler in the afternoon. No frost concerns in the short-term forecast. Even next week, things are just going to be transitioning to feel more like summer. We've got 80 on a Monday, some more 80s through the Wednesday, Thursday, Mother's Day forecast. Dana, we love you. Nice day, sunshine at high of 76.
Thank you.
Mother's
Day. You too.
Early, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I think I'm going to be schlepping down to State to pick up my son from college, packing him up.
Appropriate way.
Woo.
Man.
Is it though? I don't know. We'll see.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Sushi reward after.
Well, I hope you guys have good weekends with your moms if you're celebrating with them as well.
We are. Absolutely.
Good. Okay. Well, good. And thank you for joining us on the News at 9, everyone. Your local news continues right here on the stream.
Have a wonderful day, everyone, and a great weekend.